Tom Downey here for the Cowboys Report. You may have heard the phrase post-June 1st on this show, other places as well. It is a noteworthy time in the NFL calendar because a lot of NFL teams free up a bunch of salary cap space. The Cowboys are going to get an additional $9.5 million in cap space after June 1st when the Michael Gallup contract comes off the book and the post-June 1st cut designation he got becomes official, even though he was a free agent, etc. So it's a great time to look at potential trade targets for Dallas. They have several roster spots open. They have extra picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. They have needs at running back, wide receiver, maybe linebacker, other spots. They could make a move if they wanted to. So if you want the Cowboys to, give them poking the stick, do something, then like the video. I think it'd be nice to see the Cowboys send one of those extra day 3 draft picks. We're going to have like 4 fifth-round picks, an additional 6th-rounder as well. Like that video if you want Dallas to just do something and make a good trade. So some post-June 1st trade targets we'll look at here on today's show. Some running backs to begin. First up is Khalil Herbert. He is now, I think, running back 3 in Chicago. DeAndre Swift's going to be ahead of him. Roschon Johnson ahead of him. Travis Homer helps more on special teams. That could matter for the RB3 spot, although Herbert's a better runner. As an early down player, he has been productive. I think he's a logical fit with what Dallas doesn't have. I don't have a healthy, trustworthy early down back. Short yardage, sure. Third down, sure. 2nd and 6 handoff, I don't have enough efficiency there. Herbert can do that. He's owed $1.06 million this year, the last year of his contract, and the Bears saved that exact same figure with a trade. I think a mid to late day 3 pick, one of those 5th-rounders, one of those comp picks, I think that's about the right trade value for Herbert. When he's had chances, he's been pretty efficient. He's never been a true workhorse back, in part because he's missed time each of the past 2 seasons. But when he's been out there, he has been good. He has been effective. That's a name I would strongly look at if I were the Cowboys. I've mentioned both Herbert and this name before, and I'm going to do it again. Israel Abanikanda of the Jets. Now, he, unlike Herbert, has not shown what he's able to do all that great. But I liked him a ton coming out of Pitt. A small sample size of a handful of touches for the Jets last year in not great situations isn't going to dissuade me from what I saw on film at Pitt. He's owed 3 years, $3.09 million, super cheap, longer-term contract. Jets save just under $1 million with a cut or a trade, and it would probably only cost Dallas another mid to late day 3 pick. That's about what he went for last year. You lose a year of control of him. The Jets have options in the backfield. They have Breece Hall. A couple years in a row, they've drafted a potential Cowboys target on day 3. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis this year, and Israel Abanikanda this past season. Of note, they did sign Tariq Cohen, who I don't know if he's going to make the roster or not. He had recently been cut by the Panthers. That's another potential piece in the backfield. They're not going to carry 5 backs, I don't think. Someone's going to get moved on from, and I'd call about Abanikanda. Today's pinned comment is this question. Name a player who you want to trade for. Keep it realistic. Mahomes would be great. It's not going to happen. The ad comes on YouTube. Go vote at the pinned comment. A player you or players you want to trade for. I will mention Miles Sanders here, not because I want to trade for him, but because after June 1st, it becomes far more feasible for Carolina to move on in some capacity. In fact, the way his contract is structured, they basically can't, or at least it makes no sense to do so before June 1st. He signed that 4-year, $25.4 million deal last offseason, and he was terrible in Carolina. Now, he's owed 3 years, $16.42 million over the rest of his contract. Dallas is not going to pay that. He's owed $4.22 million this year. If you trade for him, that's probably still too much, but Carolina saves nothing with a cut. Maybe the Panthers would eat some more of that contract and get it off their books, save some money, and do a 6th, 7th round pick swap or something along those lines. Or maybe if Dallas eats all of the contract, Carolina just gives them a pick too, which I don't think they do. But I think that contract, with the way he played last year, doesn't really carry any value. Sanders went from one of the most hyper-efficient backs in football in Philadelphia to straight up bad in Carolina. And Chuba Hubbard outplayed him, by the way. Carolina drafted Jonathan Brooks. They have Hubbard, who outplayed Sanders. They added guys like Rashad Penny, who could be a sneaky, make the roster guy with his return value. Raheem Blackshear return value, too. Those are 2 guys with kick returns being more important. Probably get a chance over Sanders. Given how good he was in Philadelphia, I'm open to adding him, but it being a cut, not a trade. So pick one to trade for. KH for Khalil Herbert, IA for Israel Abanikanda, MS for Miles Sanders. Who would you rather trade for if you were the Cowboys? Let me know in the comments. Now, I've seen a couple different people suggest this idea. Kenny Clark of the Packers, which I think kind of falls more into the hopium category, because he's still a good football player, even though the decline has begun to set in. There's been some speculation, well, maybe the Packers could cut him after June 1st, which I don't really see the benefits of doing that. They save $17 million, which the Cowboys would owe if they traded for him. That's a non-starter in those conversations. So as a player, for 1 year of him, the trade cost is probably an early day 3 pick, but the money doesn't really make that much sense unless you're doing an extension, which Dallas has shown zero interest in doing. So asterisk that trade cost, where I don't see how viable it really is. I would be surprised if he got cut. If he did, I'd be screaming, sign him right now. 9 TFLs in 2023, 7.5 sacks. He's still a good football player. Obviously, there's some Mike McCarthy ties there as well. I'd be all for it. I don't get it from Green Bay's perspective. They have Devontae Wyatt, who I like, a couple day 3 picks in TJ Slayton and Carl Brooks. Why would they cut an expensive but still really darn good defensive tackle? Doesn't make any sense to me. But I've seen it mentioned, so I wanted to mention it as well. Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made easy. Pick more, pick less. That's all you have to do for hockey, basketball, baseball, and more over on PrizePicks. With PrizePicks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can do a PrizePicks lineup in as little as 60 seconds, if not even less, if you know what you're doing and what you're looking for there with your slates. Now, in general, I would always advise the flex play. The flex play means you can get one of your picks wrong and still come out on top and win. But PrizePicks does a bunch of great promotions. And when there's a promotion going on, I don't do the flex play. And we're getting half a strike, significant strike, from Dustin Poirier. I am not a UFC guy. I don't watch. The producer Chris does. Even I know half a strike is a freebie. So I'm going to go more than Anthony Edwards, 14.5 boards and assists. He's gotten that about 4 of his last 5 games, and less than Rudy Gobert, 12 rebounds and assists. He has not gotten more than that in 5 straight games. I think it's a no-brainer for the basketball action coming up on Thursday. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Again, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Another defensive lineman here, Jarran Reed of the Seattle Seahawks, I wanted to mention. We talked about Draymond Jones previously. Reed's a little bit more affordable. The Seahawks are changing defensive schemes, and I'm very curious who does and or maybe doesn't fit into that front room. I would have thought it was Draymond Jones. They're going to have Byron Murphy. They have Jonathan Hankins. He's been a 4th-round pick on Cameron Young last year. The numbers game is a little dicey for interior players, and Mike Morris can do some inside-outside stuff. So I'm just curious how it all fits together. 1 year, $4.87 million is what the Cowboys would owe. Same figure the Seahawks would save in a trade or release. It's also mentioned by Tyler Jones, who runs our Seahawks channel, so wanted to make note of it. He did a cut candidate video for us here at Chat Sports. I think mid-day 3 pick. The production skyrocketed last year, 7 TFLs, 7 sacks. I think we know that's a bit of a flash in the pan. But for Dallas in general, when it comes to the interior of the defensive line, beggars can't be choosers. They're in bad shape. That's why I'm going to mention Phidarian Mathis here. Next up of the Washington Commanders. Jonathan Allen would be great. I don't want to get my hopes up there. You could always bring back John Ridgeway, I guess, too. Mathis, I'm more intrigued by. 11 career games. They added Johnny Newton in the draft, so he's kind of, if Newton's healthy, it's a question mark. He's DT 4 or 5. Maybe they carry a 5, maybe they don't. 2 years left on his deal. $3.11 million would be owed by Dallas. That's over the 2 years, so pretty darn cheap. The Commanders would save $1.39 million in a trade, $1.28 if he were cut. Given the fact that he's played in 11 games and has 8 career tackles, I don't think anything more than a late day 3 pick is what it would cost. It is also a new regime in Washington, and we frequently see teams go, we'll move on from him. So I would not be shocked if he becomes available. To wide receivers, we've spent plenty of time here discussing Treylon Burks, so we'll go a little bit quick in case you haven't been watching or something. He's been straight up bad in 2 years with Tennessee. Plenty of positive buzz this time around him coming out of OTAs for the Titans. I wonder how much of that is people trying to build up his confidence, like his own teammates and stuff. Tennessee can't cut him. They lose $2.67 million in cap space. Trading him would save them $2 million. Maybe one of those fifth rounders is what it would take. It's not that different in the end from the Trey Lance trade. A player who hasn't performed expectations, a player the Cowboys liked a pretty decent amount coming out of Arkansas in the in his draft class, because that board leaked. Top 25 player for him. So prediction time. Will the Cowboys make a trade before the season? Y for yes, N for no. Get those predictions in the comments right now. Let's go to a different name. How about JuJu Smith-Schuster? We can be blunt here. He's not been very good with the Patriots, and he's had a very up and down, inconsistent football career overall. More on that in a little bit. 2 years, $15.5 million. Dallas will not pay that. Patriots saved $7.65 million in a trade, which is about what Dallas would owe this year. Barely $500,000 if he were to be cut. I think a day 3 pick swap and or the Patriots eating some money is what it would cost here. In many ways, JuJu's been an every other year player. Dating back to 2018, his second year with Pittsburgh, goes for 1,400 yards. That regresses to 552. Then 831 in 2020, and then only played 5 games, didn't do much in 2021. Has an underrated, really good year with the Chiefs. Not many TDs, but almost 1,000 yards. And then doo-doo in 2023 with the Patriots. Quarterback play probably to blame there. The Patriots have bodies at wide receiver. In the midst of all the mid-wide receiving cores, which maybe is still doing it a praise, it's Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Pope, who I like long-term, Demario Douglas, JuJu, Javon Baker, KJ Osborne, Jalen Reagor, Tyquan Thornton, Kayshon Boutte. It is like just, hey, we have another wide receiver 3 or 4. There's no one. I think Pope will emerge as a 2. So if they could save some money shipping him out, yeah, I think there could be some interest from teams there. Another name that I remember when we all wanted, at least not all, but I wanted Skyy Moore out of Western Michigan. Could be on the move. Who knows? He is not those expectations. And my biggest concern here with Skyy Moore, he's pretty cheap. Chiefs save some money, makes some sense there. If he can't have success with Patrick Mahomes, is he going to have success anywhere? I think late day 3 pick is kind of what you're going for there trade value-wise. He has not produced. Got more drops than touchdowns in his career. That's bad. Now, the draft pedigree is intriguing. I did like him coming out. I think late day 3 pick at best is all I would give up there. And frankly, the Chiefs still might need him for a little bit. Marquise Brown is there. Xavier Worthy's there. Kadarius Toney is a nightmare. Rashee Rice is going to be suspended for a few games. We know that. So you kind of got to have Skyy Moore, unless it's Justin Ross or Justin Watson, but I don't really believe in Ross. So maybe he's not available the way I thought he would have been pre-Rashee Rice doing stupid things in Dallas area. Now, if the Cowboys make a trade, we will have a video for you. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Next up is picking a 49ers wide receiver. Now, originally, this was going to have Jauan Jennings on the list. Well, we had to take Jauan Jennings off the list because he's got extended today by the 49ers. Look at this wide receiving room, all right? Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jauan Jennings isn't going anywhere. They just drafted Ricky Pearsall. They have Ronnie Bell. They have veterans in Trent Taylor, Chris Conley, Jacob Cowing, Danny Gray. That's 9 receivers who were sizable, NFL investments. And they have not, or investments, or their vets. They've played real NFL games. I don't think Ayuk gets traded plus Dallas will never give what it costs for him. Jennings isn't going anywhere. They just drafted Pearsall and counting. I don't want to trade for a vet like Chris Conley or Trent Taylor. So 3 names. The pipe dream, Deebo Samuel. It's not going to happen, but boy, wouldn't it be fun. I think Danny Gray, a former late 3rd round pick who offers speed, and Ronnie Bell, a veteran 7th rounder. I would have been more intrigued by Jennings, but we had to cross him off the list since he got paid. Danny Gray could be a decent cut candidate and sign to the practice squad as well for Dallas, by the way.